An unprecedented voice whispering from beyond the stars and frost, a flower of recognition blooming in the chasm of time. A fire is lit in the darkness of ignorance, and order is conceived in a whirlpool of chaos. A place where curiosity takes form, and where the will to flow and flow is lodged. A drop of question spreads like an ocean, branching out into words, sounds, lines, and colors while still drawing a spiral trajectory in search of the unknown. Curiosity is an individual quest, but its development resonates with the resonance of the whole. One person's idea travels through time and around the world, igniting the spirit of others and eventually spreading as the flame of collective knowledge. Culture is neither a mere accumulation nor a static form. It is a living organism that is in a constant state of change, a net structure that constantly reweaves itself, pregnant with contradictions and harmony. Whenever knowledge calls forth knowledge and new horizons open up, curiosity ripples out again, and development as a whole is woven into the fabric. This back and forth is the creation of culture, the key to connecting the past with the future and opening up unexplored territories. Curiosity is an undefined vortex. It is the breath that ripples in the depths of knowledge and dwells between chance and inevitability. We follow the endless trajectory of total development with our eyes fixed on the flashing lights of concepts. Like a fractal, it recurs in every place, forming similarities and transcending dimensions. Culture is not a byproduct of this development, but rather the pulsating core at the center of the vortex. It is the crystal of memory, the margin of change, the very breath of the present that integrates the past and the future. If curiosity ceases, the whole development loses its dynamic equilibrium and the culture becomes a rigid ruin. The outpouring of curiosity gives birth to a torrent of words, and metaphors are the doors to countless universes. Culture is not just built, it is created. The creation is a shift in meaning, an interplay of perspectives, a moment when something completely different resonates and produces an unknown poetry. Curiosity is the power to resist the silence of the world, and culture is the trajectory of that resistance. It is a quiet turbulence, an invisible wind that stirs the world. Once it soars, the roof tiles of old concepts are peeled off, and the seeds of possibility within are exposed to the sunlight. Curiosity is not an individual phenomenon, but an omnipresent ripple, a general rhythm that resonates beyond the perception of the observer. It is nothing but a pattern woven by the development of curiosity. When an individual takes an interest, asks a question, and walks into the unknown, the trail eventually becomes a path that is followed by the next traveler. The accumulation of knowledge is not the accumulation of isolated books, but the creation of a chain of resonant questions, a place for dialogue, and culture is the giant cocoon in which they are woven. Creation is the act of shattering closed frameworks and releasing undifferentiated possibilities from within inherent contradictions. The sharp blade of curiosity tears through the sediments of tradition and calls light into the cracks. It is not a static form, but a dynamic generation that is pregnant with time and destined to constantly transform itself by being exposed to the winds of curiosity. It is those who continue to question that give birth to culture. Those who do not rest on their laurels in finding answers, but rather move forward into the unknown with constant doubt and exploration. When their trajectories are woven together, the overall development of curiosity is not merely diffused, but creates a connection point to an unknown dimension. Creation is the act of putting the wind of curiosity in one's sails and rowing out into the unknown. Curiosity becomes a minute ripple and spreads, stitching its way through time. It is a voyage of consciousness sinking into an abyss of questions, a desire for the unknown overflowing from the cracks of concepts. How does culture germinate, flourish, and die? Curiosity, while ignited within the individual, permeates the whole. Countless lines woven by solitary contemplation eventually link together to form a huge web called culture. Language, art, science, these are not the product of an isolated genius, but of a community as a place where curiosity intersects, melds, and develops. One question invites another, and the process itself folds over and over. One perspective sees curiosity as the primordial light. Just as the universe expands explosively from a dark nothingness, a spark of curiosity expands the horizon of knowledge. But the expansion does not lead to chaos. Rather, it is an activity of consciousness that moves toward the creation of meaning.